Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Apex Day 2 Skill Development Academy, Deep Dive into Void and Return Types. Welcome back to the Apex Skill Development Academy. Today, we're going to delve into the essential concepts of void and return types in Apex. Understanding these concepts is crucial for writing effective, reusable, and maintainable code. This lesson will cover 1. Understanding void methods. 2. Understanding return type methods. 3. Using return types effectively. 4. Primitive and complex return types. 5. Returning lists, sets, and maps. 6. Returning sobjects. 7. Returning custom classes. 8. Returning null. 9. Chaining methods with return types. 10. Best practices. 11. Common mistakes and troubleshooting. 12. Exercises. Let's get started. 1. Understanding void methods. A void method in Apex is a subroutine that performs an action but does not return any value to the caller. Think of it as a process that executes and then quietly concludes without offering any data back. Keyword void. Purpose to execute a block of code that accomplishes a specific task, such as updating a database record, sending an email, logging information, or performing calculations internally. Syntax key points no return statement is required, or allowed, in a void method. If you try to use a return statement with a value in a void method, you'll get a compiler error. You can use a return statement without a value to exit the method early based on a condition. Example explanation The update account description method takes an account ID and a new description as input. It retrieves the account record using the account ID. If the account is found, it updates the description field and persists the changes to the database using update ACC. The method doesn't return any value, it simply performs the update. 2. Understanding return type methods. A method with a return type is a subroutine that performs an action and returns a specific value to the caller. This returned value can then be used by the caller in subsequent operations. Keyword any valid Apex data type, example string, integer, boolean, list string, account, my custom class. Purpose to perform a calculation, retrieve data, or generate a value that the calling code needs to use. Syntax key points a return statement is required to return a value of the specified type. If you omit the return statement, you'll get a compiler error. The returned value must be of the same type as the declared return type of the method. If you try to return a different type, you'll get a compiler error. The return statement immediately exits the method. Any code after the return statement within the method will not be executed. Example explanation the get account name by ID method takes an account ID as input. It queries the database to retrieve the account record. If the account is found, it returns the name of the account, which is a string. If the account is not found, it returns the string account not found. The returned string is assigned to the account name variable and then used for debugging. 3. Using return types effectively. Here are some key considerations for using return types effectively. Clarity. The return type should clearly reflect the purpose of the method. Name the method descriptively so that its intent is obvious. Asterisk consistency asterisk ensure that the method always returns a value of the declared type under all possible execution paths. This often means having a return statement in each if/else branch. Asterisk error handling asterisk consider how to handle situations where the method cannot produce a valid result. Returning null might be appropriate in some cases, more on this later, or throwing an exception might be more suitable in others. 4. Primitive and complex return types. Apex supports a wide range of return types, which can be categorized as primitive or complex. Asterisk primitive types asterisk these are the basic data types built into Apex. Asterisk integer, whole numbers. Asterisk decimal, numbers with decimal points. Asterisk string, textual data. Asterisk boolean, true/false values. Asterisk date, represents a specific date. Asterisk date time, represents a specific date and time. Asterisk ID, a unique identifier for a Salesforce record. Asterisk complex types asterisk these are more complex data structures built from primitive types or other complex types. Asterisk list data type, an ordered collection of elements. Asterisk set data type, an unordered collection of unique elements. Asterisk map data type, a collection of key value pairs. Asterisk subject, represents a standard or custom Salesforce object, example account, contact, mycustomObject__C. Asterisk custom classes asterisk user-defined classes, allowing you to return complex data structures specific to your application. 5. Returning lists, sets, and maps. Returning collections, lists, sets, and maps, is a powerful way to encapsulate and return multiple pieces of related data. These are very common in Apex development. Example, returning a list. Example, returning a set. Example, returning a map. 6. Returning S-objects. Returning S-objects, standard or custom Salesforce objects like account, contact, opportunity, is a very common practice. This allows you to retrieve and return entire records with all their fields. Example asterisk. 7. Returning custom classes. Returning custom classes allows you to create complex data structures that are specifically tailored to your application's needs. This is extremely useful for encapsulating related data and logic. Example asterisk. Explanation asterisk. Asterisk calculator result is a custom class that encapsulates the result of a calculation, the operation performed, and a timestamp. Asterisk the calculator class has add and subtract methods, both of which return a calculator result instance. Asterisk this makes the code more readable and organized, as the return value contains all the relevant information about the calculation. 8. Returning null. Returning null is often used to indicate that a method was unable to find a valid result or that an error occurred. Asterisk important considerations asterisk. Asterisk null pointer exceptions asterisk be very careful when working with null values. If you try to dereference a null variable, example string name equals null, system.debug, name.length, you'll get a null pointer exception. Always check for null before accessing the members of a variable. Asterisk defensive programming asterisk write your code defensively to handle potential null values gracefully. Asterisk alternatives asterisk consider using other mechanisms for error handling, such as throwing exceptions, especially when the absence of a value represents a serious error. Example asterisk. 9. Chaining methods with return types. A powerful technique is to chain methods together using their return values. This can make your code more concise and readable, especially when performing a sequence of operations. Example asterisk. Explanation asterisk. Asterisk the trim and lower method returns a string, trimmed and lowercased. Asterisk the getStringLength method takes a string as input and returns its length, as an integer. Asterisk we can chain these methods together because the return type of trim and lower matches the input type of getStringLength. The output of the first method becomes the input for the second. 10. Best practices. Asterisk descriptive method names. Asterisk use clear and descriptive names for your methods that accurately reflect what the method does and what it returns. Asterisk consistent return types. Asterisk ensure that a method always returns the same type under all conditions. Asterisk handle nulls gracefully. Asterisk be prepared to handle null values returned by methods, especially when dealing with sobjects or complex data structures. Use null checks, if myObject equals null, to avoid null pointer exceptions. Asterisk use custom classes for complex results. Asterisk if a method needs to return multiple related pieces of information, consider using a custom class to encapsulate them. Asterisk avoid side effects. Asterisk ideally, a method should primarily focus on calculating and returning a value. Avoid performing unrelated actions, side effects, within the method. For example, a method that calculates a discount should not also be responsible for updating a database record. Separate these concerns. Asterisk test thoroughly. Asterisk write unit tests to ensure that your methods return the correct values under various input conditions, including edge cases and error scenarios. 11. Common mistakes and troubleshooting. Asterisk forgetting the return statement. Asterisk a very common mistake is to forget the return statement in a method with a non-void return type. This will result in a compiler error. Asterisk returning the wrong type. Asterisk trying to return a value of a different type than the declared return type of the method. This will also result in a compiler error. Asterisk not handling nulls. Asterisk failing to check for null values returned by methods, leading to null pointer exceptions. Asterisk overcomplicating return values. Asterisk returning overly complex data structures when a simpler return type would suffice. Keep it simple. Asterisk performing side effects in a method primarily designed for calculation. Asterisk as stated previously, avoid mixing calculation and action, e.g. updating records, within a single method. This makes code harder to understand, test, and maintain. Asterisk SOQL queries returning null. Asterisk remember that SOQL queries can return null if no records match the criteria. Make sure to handle this case appropriately. An empty list will be returned if the query returns no records, but an object itself can be null if not properly initialized. Example of forgetting to return asterisk. Corrected version asterisk. 12. Exercises. Here are some exercises to reinforce your understanding of void and return types. 1. Calculate circle area asterisk. Write a class called circle calculator with a method called calculate area that takes the radius of a circle as input, as a decimal, and returns the area of the circle, as a decimal. Area equals pi asterisk radius caret 2. 2. Account validation asterisk. Write a class called account validator with a method called validate account that takes an account object as input and returns a boolean. The method should return true if the account's name is not null or empty and its industry is not null. Otherwise, it should return false. 3. Find oldest contact asterisk. Write a class called contact finder with a method called find oldest contact that takes a list contact as input and returns the contact with the earliest birth date. If the list is empty, return null. If any birthdate is null, skip it. 4. Split name asterisk. Write a class called namesplitter with a method called split full name that takes a full name, string, as input and returns a list string containing the first name and last name. Assume the full name is always in the format first name last name. Handle cases where the name is null or contains only one word, return an empty list in these cases. 5. Custom result wrapper * create a custom class called account creation result with properties success, boolean, account ID, and error message, string. Write a method called createAccount that takes an account name, string, as input, attempts to create the account, and returns an account creation result object. If the account is created successfully, success should be true, account ID should be the ID of the created account, and error message should be null. If there's an error, success should be false, account ID should be null, and error message should contain the error message. Good luck with the exercises. By practicing with these examples, you'll solidify your understanding of void and return types and become a more proficient Apex developer. Remember to always test your code thoroughly and follow best practices for writing clean, maintainable code.